Everybody wants success, happiness, and fulfillment, but most people don't have a real system for building it. Miles has spent years developing a personal philosophy that serves as a foundation for everything: business, health, relationships, and mindset. Today, he's breaking down the framework for building a life that you actually want.
To the rhythm of my intuition, anything I want, I speak into existence. That's how I'm.
Okay, welcome back to episode 13.
13
of Finding Rhythm.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. Love it. All right, let's roll.
All right. Miles, you've built multiple businesses, but more than that, you've built a way of thinking. What does life mastery mean to you?
Oh, that's like a heavy question, eh? Life mastery. Bold statement. I would say we'll roll back to kind of a mindset thing of it, but the pursuit of mastery, I think, is kind of the key of it. You know, even when I hear life mastery, it's like, ooh, that sounds pretty intense, but you are continuously growing and expanding as you kind of go through life, as you have more experiences, acquire more skills, continue to learn and apply those into your everyday life and many aspects of your life. And through that growth, I believe there's mastery to be had. To really achieve the mastery, though, of it, I think you need to focus and dial into what it is that you want to achieve and what it is that you want to accomplish in your life. Whatever that is, it's going to be different for every individual, but having real intention and a point to work towards, and then going after that over long periods of time and building momentum and compounding effects, that's the route to mastery.
Why do most people struggle with the mastery? What keeps them stuck?
I think probably just awareness of it, right? Are you like, I'm not sure how many people are thinking of building mastery in their life of it. So I would say really just an awareness or having that top of mind. I think that naturally people are working towards things and getting better at things, but having a mindset of mastery is what's needed.
Throughout our many episodes of Finding Rhythm, you always say life is about consuming and creating. Can you break that down some more for us?
Yeah, this is part of the deep life philosophy of this. And the more I go back to it and think deeper and deeper on it, the more true I believe it to be. Just if you just think about life in the most basic way, right? You are consistently consuming the world around you, the conversations that you have, the books, the movies, the podcasts, the YouTube videos, the music, the foods, the drinks, consuming. It's becoming a part of you. And then with that, you are creating through action, right? The things that you decide to do, the thoughts, feelings, emotions that you have. This is kind of the creation, and going back to like ever expanding through experience, you are creating the experience in front of you. So I always wonder if that, like, when people hear that, they're like, what the hell is he talking about? But I think about it a lot deeply, and I believe it to be true. All we do as humans is consume and create.
How does what we consume, like content, people, conversations, shape what we create in our own lives?
Yeah, I think because it all matters, right? What you consume is going to have a huge influence of it. You know, we kind of reality number one or reality A over here. It's I wake up and I consume the feed on my phone, and it's filled with like a bunch of shitty news and horrible things that are going on, and you know, maybe the wrong topics, and you know, I move to the next thing and I consume too much processed food, too much sugar, too much alcohol, too many drugs, consuming that too. The people I hang around with, all we do is talk negative and talk about all our problems and everything that's wrong in the world. We're consuming all that. And then I consume just Netflix and all these content things, right? all those consumptions. Then reality number B, right? It's like, what am I consuming? I'm consuming, books or videos that are helping me learn and have a positive effect on my life. The conversations that I have are filled with, hope and ambition and dreams and positive things that are going on. I'm eating clean. I'm not drinking alcohol. These are my consumption things, right? Those two scenarios, that same person, they're going to have completely different outcomes of kind of how they feel and ultimately then what they create from that, from that baseline of what they consume. Whether you are aware of it or not aware of it, what you are consuming on a daily level will have major, major impact of how you feel and then ultimately what actions you take, which then leads to the life that you create.
If someone wanted to be more intentional or aware about what they consume, where should they start?
Audit your day, right? Audit your day. Break it down into 30-minute chunks and really just document what you are doing throughout the day. The stuff that you're consuming, thinking about like the social feeds that you had, the conversations that you have, the food that you eat, the content or escapism that you consume, and just take an audit of what that is. It's really just get some self-awareness of like what is happening. We live in a world where it's like you are consistently distracted and pulled left, right, and up, down. And I think it's easy to get caught in the trap of going through the day, going through the motions and not even be conscious of what you are doing, right? Or what you are consuming, right? So kind of this awareness level, this mindfulness level of this, of what is actually happening. I think that's step number one. And then just take it slow and just start to pick apart, like, okay, don't do this, maybe do this, don't watch this, maybe read this. You're not going to just change everything immediately because that's not sustainable, and you don't want to get into the cycle of like, oh, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. I got to fix everything. Oh, I do that for 15 days and then back down. We're back into bad behaviors again. And then going through that cycle again, you want to think through long term and then slowly replace with like kind of positive pieces and then stack those over a long period of time.
You believe in working on 4 core areas: the mind, the body, skills, and the relationships. Why these 4 specifically?
I think I landed on thinking about these 4 because it didn't matter, and this applies for everyone, but for me, it's like, it doesn't matter where I am on the spectrum of life. If like I got nothing going on and everything has gone to shit, or if like I got everything is working and like everything is humming at 100%, I could always fall back to these foundational four pieces of my life, right? So at one end, I don't have anything, can go back to that. On the high end, I have absolutely everything. I could still go back to those 4. Also, kind of through that lens of mastery, where it's like, there's something that I can return to that will have a positive impact on kind of my life and the life that I want to create at any time of it. Another piece is you can start really, really basic in all these aspects of it, and then over time stack up and get better and better and better. Well, that is the mastery piece of it. So just breaking them down of the 4, which is kind of on the mind side of it. You are the quality of your thoughts. So being thoughtful of that and building on that foundation. And also they're the foundation because these are the foundational model to then be able to build on top of. So quality of your thoughts, we're going to be thinking of who are the people that I'm hanging around with, what are the quality conversations that I have, what is the content that I'm consuming, am I aware of my, mental stability and the quality of the thoughts. Then on the body side of it, right, am I getting movement and exercise in, proper nutrition, all those aspects that will fall into the body. And those 2 just fall into the health bucket of it, because what do you have if you don't have kind of health? We're in these human avatars. So you want those to be feeling good because you want to take on the kind of the day in the world feeling good and feeling energized. Then on the skill side of it, you have to, in a world where you can do anything, right? You want to be developing and honing in on your skills to be valuable, as we talked about in the last one, and adding value. So finding that outlet in this cross section of things that you're good at and things that give you energy and things that can make you money, really. And honing in on those, and then within those, just get better and better at those pieces. And then on the relationship side of it, life is a single player game. I'm just living it through my lens, through my eyes and how I feel. But we get to play with others. That's one of the best parts about the game of life here. But like anything, it takes work, right? It takes work to build good relationships, whether that's with your wife or your husband or with your kids or with your parents or with your friends or with your colleagues. So you want to be being thoughtful about those. So going to those kind of core four, and then it's just like, I'm aware of them. I'm aware of what I want to do with that, and then just try to get better and better over time. Not all at once, but over time.
So what's one habit or approach that you can use to improve each of these consistently over time?
Yeah. So those are the four, and then I just run through kind of the framework of how to do that, which it can be a short-term goal or a long-term goal, a small goal or a big goal. But I always run it through this kind of same, framework? The rhythm. Set the vision or the goal, break it down into a plan in achievable steps, set out on the mission and do the work, because it all takes work. All the pieces take work. This is the key ingredient to it all. Nothing good happens without putting in the work. Measure progress, celebrate milestones, rest, reflect, and repeat. Take that and then apply that to whatever area that you want to focus on, right? You're feeling crappy and out of shape, then apply it to kind of the body. Get moving, eat better, get good sleep, all these things. You want to apply it to the skills, right? Set a vision. What are the skills that I want to get better at? What is the plan that I need to do? I want to get better at sales. Okay. I want to get better at sales and apply that into my business world. That is the goal. Get good at sales or get X amount of sales. I need to break it down into a plan. Okay. So I need to do 20 sales calls a day, 20 follow-ups through emails, and, create a piece of content around it. That is the plan of it. And I'm going to do this over the next 6 weeks. Set out onto the mission and execute the work. Okay, you made that wonderful, beautiful plan with the great vision of it. It all sounds good and it all feels good. But now you need to go and do the work and wake up every day and make those 20 calls and send those 20 emails and make that piece of content and do that along the way. Measure progress. Did I do the calls? How many people said no? How many people said yes? Okay, celebrate milestones. Okay, it's been 2 weeks. I got 3 sales. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, rest, reflect, and repeat.
Answered my next question perfectly in that one too.
Which is what?
Can you walk through how this applies to anything? And you did.
Yeah. It's that kind of framework of set the vision or goal, make the plan, execute the work, measure progress, celebrate milestones, rest, reflect, and repeat, applied across to those 4 of it to then. And that's where the fun part is. You get to set what the goal is. Like, what direction do you want to go? What do you want to do? And then just run through that. And like I said, it could be as small as you could do that on a daily piece of it. You could do that on a quarterly thing. You could do that for the whole year. Set the intention. And, this is the lens that I do it through of like kind of these categories of mind, body, business, skills, relationships, those pieces of it. But whoever is listening and wants to apply this, do that for your own life and what matters to you and what you want to do. I want to get good at pickleball. I don't care. Just, but run it through that.
With all that being said, most people do set a lot of goals and they don't follow through. Where do they go wrong?
knowing putting in the work, because setting goals, and I have fallen into this trap.
Oh, me too, plenty of times.
The goals feel so good. I can picture it in my head of like, oh, it's going to feel like this. And it's like and I think there's some like brain chemistry behind this, where it's like you can get the good feeling of having the goal like achieved in your head, but not actually realized of it. So you could like set the goal. You could tell your friends and tell your family, like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what my plan is, like all these pieces, right? So I could set the vision or the goal. I can even make the plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. But then there's a mountain of work that needs to be executed for that to actually happen. And that's where the fall off comes. Or it's like, we do the work for, a week or 2 weeks, but the plan needs 8 weeks or a full year or more or whatever that may be. And I think that's where kind of the fall off comes on. And I have fallen trapped to that many, many times, but just having awareness that that's the reality of it. And, just keep getting back on the track, on the path.
How do you personally track and measure progress across all of these areas?
Yeah, so has always changed, especially when I first started doing this. I think it was during COVID time, because I was like trapped in the house, and I had like an Excel spreadsheet with like all these different things, and I would mark them green, yellow, or red. Like green if I did it, yellow if I half-assed it, and red if I just didn't. And it just painted this beautiful visual of like the month of like, okay, this is what I said I was going to do. What did I actually do to it? Which was also a great exercise, because before you kind of would get going, and then if you miss a couple days, you would be like, oh, it's over. I missed, like it's done. But when you kind of get this visual, it's like, oh, but you had 30 days and maybe 4 of them were misses, right? It paints this great picture of like, oh no, you actually did what you said you were going to do more often than not. But I did that for 2 years, and then it kind of became a part of me, of these foundational pieces. So then now they're kind of separated out into their own categories, and they're consistently changing and evolving. Like I said, short-term, long-term, all these pieces. So I think I have different trackers for each one, because that's part of the framework. You gotta measure the progress of it. So each category is different. Obviously, relationships, I'm not tracking it, even though, I probably should, because I think it would be helpful too. But each one is slightly different. Another piece I'm probably going on here, but when you're then thinking about it through this lens of it, this goes back to like building the mastery of it. The phase 1 is like, you're aware of like, these are kind of the areas that I care about. The phase 2 is like, okay, I'm executing the work needed in these areas. But then you just get more and more into the details of each one of them. And like your level of mastery is literally blossoming in front of you as you go through it, where what I have learned from a health standpoint or from a mental standpoint from when I first started this in like 2020, 2021 versus where I'm at right now in 2025 is like drastically different. And we can run that through on all four pieces.
If somebody wanted to start applying this today, what's the very first step they should take?
Set a vision for what you want, or set a goal for what you want. You need to put something into the future, right, of where you want to go. If you don't have like something set in the first of like, I'm working towards this way, this is the path that I'm following to, and you just wake up and let the day take you and slosh you around, like you'll get spun around. You need to like pick a spot where you're heading forward towards. That way you can kind of handle the ups, downs, the obstacles, all that, the maneuvers. And you might come off the path every once in a while. Shit happens, life happens, and like nothing is perfect. But when you have the area to point to, right, in the future, you can return back to the path of like, that's where you're going. So I would say step 1, just like, think about what you want your life to be, or the person that you want to become, and what does their life look like, and that kind of sets something like into the future of you working towards. And this is literally how you create your own reality. So that would be it.
What's one lesson from your own journey that solidified this philosophy for you?
I just feel like I'm living proof of it, like as it's happening right now. Like I could feel it unfolding in front of me as it's going. Like I said, I really only started to apply this probably 2021. I'd say 2021 is probably the first year that I started to kind of apply this framework and develop kind of this core life philosophy of like, what am I doing? Who do I want to become? What's the life I want to live? What are the things that I care about? What are the things that I like? Who are the people I want to do it with? All these aspects of it and kind of bringing it into a solid thing. And then it's like, okay, painting a picture of what I want that to be. How do I actually make that reality of it? And then going through this piece of it. And now we are 4 years into it. I'm living proof of it to myself, right? And I'm just excited to watch it continue to unfold. You know, everything I see up in my head just comes to life. You know, that's a quote from a song, but truth.
You know what else is unfolding? Finding rhythm. What's one area of your life you want to improve right now? Drop a comment and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching.